So what I'm not trying to do is that with this foot, my left foot. I'm absolutely not trying to flex it. What I am trying to do, I mean, I had surgery this morning, but I am just trying to, I'm literally bending my toes, just bending my toes. Just because it feels right. I'm not like, oh, I want loads of movement. It feels right. That is also a marker pen, because I had marker, which they have cleaned off. I had a marker pen. I don't know why they needed the marker pen, because I did have the boot on, so they knew it was the left foot. But I think they had to, I don't know, and they just put marker pen there. But I do feel like doing this just makes me feel sane. You know, I've got Kill Bill in my head, and I've had it in my head since the accident, which is wiggle your big toe. So that's what I'm doing, and I think it is helping. I think it's helping, yeah. We will see, won't we? But surgery went well. I was praying. I had a lovely sleep. I wish I had known. You know, and you can't know, can you? You can't. I'm sure we all wish we knew things, but I didn't know things, and the healing has finally begun. It's funny because I just feel like the suffering and the pain that I was in and the struggles that I was facing along with the accident of breaking the ligaments. So I've torn. So look at my foot. Being as flexible as it can be, because it's the only one that can be. So you can normally see it. I can normally see it. I feel like I can see it when I do that. See the sort of bird, like uno, dos, tres. I mean cuatro, see, but or cinco, cuatro, cinco. I actually don't know how many bones there are. But here, aquí, or here or something like that. They said you've got ligaments that keep your bones. So your bones are like this. But if there weren't ligaments, they would just be floating around. But the ligaments just keep them together, not a muscle. I didn't know. I didn't really understand that. I was thinking, what the hell is that? But okay. So those I'm trying to do. I'm not doing it. But the ligaments there, I broke them apart completely when I fell at the pole camp, which is absolutely devastating, because I love pole and I love dance and I love movement. I love being active. But okay, we are where we are. And they said they've therefore put, because they were worried that my bones would move without surgery, they said the ligaments are going to take 3 to 4 months to heal on their own anyway. They can't help that with surgery at all. But they are concerned that because the ligaments are broken and are healing, but they are broken, the bones are not held together by anything, and they said that could cause arthritis tomorrow, in a week, next year, in a couple of years. And they said, why take that risk? Why take the risk when you can have surgery and avoid it completely? And I was like, okay. The thing that I was most absolutely terrified about, because I do have a really bad phobia of needles, because years ago, right, when my twin sister and I did we were doing, like, not even acting, I wouldn't call it acting, but a bit of like documentary shows, like twin shows, twin work, and it was like with sort of documentaries with the TV. We had to have our blood taken. I remember it was on this arm, and they couldn't take mine for ages, and they kept pricking me like 4 times, and the tears that I was crying. I know, like, you know, we hold on to trauma when we probably don't need to, but it just was with me for a long time. So I do have a phobia of needles. I just do. So the thing that I was most terrified about, and I was genuinely like shaking when I knew that they had to put this in to put me under, which I'm happy to go under. I'm happy to have the surgery. Fantastic. But I was literally shaking when they had to put this in. And they were so chill. They sprayed it with this like ice cold, which was really refreshing spray. I was like, oh, can I buy that? Let me know. And they were just like, I thought, can you just tell me? But unfortunately, no. a medical thing. They sprayed it, and they were trying to distract me by getting me to talk about my business, because I do business strategy and help you see what you can't see in your business, like what's going wrong, where are you leaking money, da 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 da. And they said, oh, so how did you learn that? And I said, well, I used to be a journalist, so it's my job to see the bigger picture as well as the minute stuff, because my boss was sitting next to me saying, Tammy, focus, or, oh, have you missed, oh, actually, you've zoomed out too much, no, we want to talk about this, or you've really focused on this, what about the bigger picture, etc. It was literally my job. And then obviously I ran my own business, my hair care company. I mean, obviously it still exists, but it's on pause at the moment, because my head just wasn't in it anymore. My heart wasn't in it anymore. And so I said, journalism coupled with running my own business for like it would have been 9 years this May, but I ended things before that. It teaches you a lot, doesn't it? It does teach you a lot. So I now see what is going wrong in other businesses. It's just so clear to me. And you can't see it in your own business, not just because you're running it, you're doing all the things, not just because you're close to it. But I honestly think, like on some subconscious level, not that you don't have a trained eye or whatever, rather you don't always want to see it, as in you don't always want to see the bad. And for some people, bad is where they're losing money. For some people, bad is 1,000 people, 100,000 people, 1 million people looking at the website and going, not a bit of me. But you as the founder, you've put so much effort into it and you love it so much that you think, oh, that's fantastic. Do you see what I mean? So it can feel like a knife going in, can't it? It can feel like, oh, you're ripping apart what I've created. And actually I'm just coming and saying, this is not earning you cash. It's just not. When you could show people what you do just in a way that is clearer. That is far clearer. So that's what I do. Anyway, we were talking about that. And I said, I don't want to be distracted. And they said, okay, no worries. I was struggling. I really do struggle. And the doctor said, well, you have had open heart surgery as a baby. And I said, yes, but that was literally 35 years ago. And he said, no. He corrected me. This medical doctor, numbers, facts, science, very hard, cold, I'd say, to a degree. And he's the one who said, no. You have trauma stored in your body. I said, okay, what do you mean? He said, no. You had open heart surgery, that literally life-saving surgery when you couldn't say a word, when you didn't know what was going on, but your body knew. And you could see it happened. So you don't need to apologise. And I said, no, I'm sorry for moaning and having a whinge. I'm sure it's not what you guys need. You just want to get on with it. You're doing your best. And I do hugely appreciate the effort you're putting in, not to mention just trying to calm me down. And he just said, it's really okay. You are well within your rights if you have a phobia of needles, but you're well within your rights because of what happened when you were a baby. And I was just like, oh, thank you so much. That is very, very lovely of you to say, to be so genuinely understanding. Anyway, that's my update. The surgery went swimmingly. I'm very, very happy. I am happy that it is over. It is quite something having a weight on your leg and your foot being unable to move. It's quite the experience, I won't lie. But my family were here today when I woke up. I feel exceptionally grateful to have them. You really only have your health. You really only have your health. And the fact that others are looking after me, I have no words. I have no words. I just have gratitude. All right, lovely. Stay safe.